Hey there, clodhoppers. Today I'd like to talk about wild blackberries. I mean the thorny, brambly kind. Are they really worth having around your property? While the quick answer may seem like no, they're not worth the hassle, I'd like for us to take a look at some of the plants and maybe see if there might be some room for negotiation. One benefit I have definitely seen with the wild blackberry since we've been on this property is that I don't have to do anything for them. I don't take care of them at all. They take care of themselves. Now granted, these that are next to the rabbit cages do look the best because they get that natural fertilizer from the bunnies, but even the ones that aren't next to the rabbits do really well. That is one of the benefits of a plant that is native to your area. Not only do you not have to water it or feed it or maintain it, it grows on its own and it actually thrives. Now, the flip side to that is because it does so well without any attention, basically with neglect, it can become invasive and become a bit of a nuisance. But what I would postulate is that once you've harvested the stuff you want, like delicious blackberries, then why not just mow over it? If it's in your way, if it's in your yard, let it grow in the spring, let it make fruit for you to be able to enjoy, and then mow over it. If you don't have an investment in it, it's no loss to clear it out of the way once you have what you want. Okay, now I'm going to pick those yummy blackberries. Not going to let those go to waste. If the thought of having wild blackberries in the middle of your yard just drives you nuts, then here's another option. Let them grow in the fence row. Then you can cut your yard and have a maintained yard, but still have the benefit of the blackberries to pick. They're out of your way, but you still get the yummy goodness. Now, another downside to the wild blackberries is they are thorny. And I'm not gonna lie, that's not always fun. In fact, I just got several thorns in my foot about an hour ago whenever I started harvesting. But honestly, that was my own fault. I was in sandals and I didn't see the bramble line that got caught between my toe and my sandal. But I quickly found out when I pulled my foot and got a few toes full of thorns. I would say that's still worth it for the blackberries. The other downside to the wild blackberries is they will go everywhere. It is harder to keep them contained. Now, I mean, you could try to put them along fence lines and tie them up, try to make them a little more civilized, but to me, that kind of defeats the purpose. I like having them as a wild food that I don't have to take care of. All I have to do is come out and enjoy the harvest. But that would be completely up to you. So talking about those thorns, one way that I have found it makes it easier for me to get blackberries out of a thick patch that has a lot of thorns, and it's almost like digging through 6 inches of plant and thorns to try to get the berries. I actually use barbecue tongs, you know, like the 12-inch long tongs. And I'll use those to either push the plant to the side so I can reach my hand in to get the berry, or I'll actually use the tongs and pick the berries one at a time. Is it tedious? Yes. But you get to decide whether the taste of the fruits of your labor are worth it or not. And in case you're wondering, yes, those are the same barbecue tongs that I was talking about that I used to grab the snake behind the head whenever I caught it. So see, this is what I'm talking about. Letting it grow into your yard or into your pasture, waiting until the berries are ready to harvest. And then if you want to tame it back, you can always mow so that all that you're left with to start off the next year are the plants that are along the fence row. And I just found a caterpillar. That's a benefit of foraging. You get to see what's out in nature. It's fun to see who else and what else is sharing your property with you. You can find neat new plants while foraging too. Those are pretty. Let's pick a few more blackberries, shall we? Another downside to wild blackberries is they are not of a uniform size. And in fact, they tend to be pretty small. Usually when you buy cultivars of blackberries, they've been bred to have large, juicy berries and of a more uniform size. So this is the kind of berry that you shouldn't get with a cultivar, but you will more than likely find from a wild blackberry plant. But one could also argue that a benefit of the wild blackberry is that if you don't like the size or the look of a berry, maybe the berry got bird poop on it, or maybe the berry didn't get pollinated well and so it's missing a lot of little berries, or maybe even it's not so much of a berry, it's just like a little cluster, so it's a black bubble instead of a black berry. You can just leave it on the plant for the birds and other critters. I mean, after all, you didn't invest anything in these plants, so it doesn't really hurt your feelings or your pocketbook to leave some of those plants for the wildlife to enjoy. Like, for example, this one has several berries exposed. I think I'm going to go ahead and toss that next to the fence. That way it can start a new plant next year, or an animal can find it and enjoy some fresh blackberry. There's an example of the black bubbles instead of an actual berry. Only part of it got pollinated, so there are only 4 seeds on that particular berry. So I'm going to call it a black bubble. And while that is disheartening, and you would hate to see that on a cultivated variety of blackberries, black bubbles aren't a high percentage of the blackberries you find on the wild blackberry. So in my estimation, a few of those aren't a big deal. If the conformation of the berry and the size of the berry don't bother you, then you might be like me and enjoy an afternoon of picking blackberries, and then all you have to do is wash them up, maybe let them soak for a little bit if there's any bugs on them to clean those off. And then you can blend them and put them in bags to freeze them in the freezer. Or you can use them fresh in your kefir smoothies, or even mix them with some soft kefir cheese for a nice spread on your toast in the morning. Or even make a wash day cobbler like this one that I made last year. Oh, and I almost forgot one of the most important benefits of all. They're so yummy. Oh yeah, that's good. You've also heard me say in a previous episode that if I'd known we had wild blackberries on our property, we probably wouldn't have bought cultivars. But I'm kind of changing my mind on that a little bit. My parents asked us the other day if we wanted a few starts from some of their blackberries, a thorned variety, but still a cultivar. And we said yes, we wouldn't mind having about 3. And the reason we decided that is it's better to have multiple varieties so that if one gets, let's say, infected by some sort of disease, or a pest really loves one variety but doesn't love the other, you still have extra plants left over to be able to enjoy a harvest. Not too bad of a harvest for a couple of hours worth of work. Now the possibilities of what to make with all these blackberries. I think I will go the easy route and just blend them up and put them in a baggie and freeze them. And it'll be simple to pull it out of the freezer, thaw it, and just use it straight away in the recipe. So when it's all said and done, if you can't tell, I'm on the side of the fence where I think it's worth the little bit of effort and the little bit of unsightliness to be able to have blackberries on our homestead that we don't have to work for and we don't have to pay for. All we have to do is enjoy them. Well, looks like I've got quite a few more blackberries to pick. Thank you for joining me today. Hope you got a little something out of the talk today. Food for thought, if nothing else. All right, y'all have a blessed day. See you next time.
Hey Cloud Hoppers, thanks for watching the video. Push the thumbs up to like the video. Also hit that subscribe button, also the bell, so that you can get notifications when our videos come out.
Check us out on our social media pages too. We have Facebook and Pinterest, and soon we'll have Instagram. The links are below. Bye y'all!
Bye! Good job.